What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and you're watching a Marvel edition of the Ragin Nation show. This is just a web series where we're talking about all things matter to me in the world of Marvel films. This is episode number 60, and in this episode, what we're going to do is we're going to follow up on some of that talk that has been going on about the future of the Spider-Man franchise, and of course, what Sony Pictures plans to do about it. I know there's been a lot of announcements and news about Spider-Man and how they're going to implement the Spider-Man character into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's still shrouded in mystery. We still don't know a whole lot about it, except for the fact that Spider-Man is going to be lent to Marvel Studios from Sony Pictures. That's all we know. Other than that, there's no other details, but what we do know now, as of this point, is that everything that Sony Pictures intended to do about the franchise is thrown out the door. What I mean by that is that, remember there was talk about a Sinister Six film? That was really highly going to happen. That was going to happen. As a matter of fact, it was slated for a, November 11th release in 2016. Well, that's thrown out the door. The Sinister Six film is thrown out the door for now. Okay, it could happen later, and it might happen later. In fact, it probably will happen later. But you know what? I'll follow up on that. So Sinister Six, no longer part of the plan, okay, as of for now. The Aunt May spy spinoff, that's totally out the door. As for Spider-Gwen, Spider-Woman, or Spider-Girl, or possible Spider-Man 2029, no, that is not happening. Everything that I've talked about has been thrown out the door, except for Sinister Six, but I'll talk about that a little later on. What Sony Pictures wants to do is to get the Spider-Man franchise back on their feet, okay? Now, what The Amazing Spider-Man 2 made, box office-wise, is honestly not that bad. It did quite a huge number, but for Sony Pictures standards and their expectations, it wasn't met. So what they need to do is get it back on its feet, inject new life into it, and the only way was by lending their character to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that's what they plan to do. Now, what's going on right now is that they're talking about who's going to direct the film. Now, this is a new development, okay? This is a new development in the whole Spider-Man Marvel fiasco. Well, it's not a fiasco, but it's a development, okay? In any case, is that originally Drew Goddard was going to direct Sinister Six for Sony Pictures, okay? The Sinister Six spin-off film, okay? It's no longer happening. What's going to happen is that he is currently in talks to write and direct the Spectacular Spider-Man, okay? For, of course, a Sony Pictures and also the Marvel Cinematic Universe, okay? This is a pretty major development, okay? That means the Sinister Six film is no longer coming out next year. Drew Goddard is going to focus on writing and directing the Spectacular Spider-Man for, let's see, what's that date? The date is July 28th, of 2017. So when about a year and a half from now, no, 2.5 years from now. All right, 2.5 years from now, July 28th, 2017. That is when we're going to see the Spectacular Spider-Man. Okay, so Drew Goddard is no longer directing it's not Suicide Squad. I mean Sinister Six for 2016 release. Considering that Spider-Man is now a priority. The Spectacular Spider-Man solo film is going to be a priority, so that it's going to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, okay? Now, he's just in talks to direct it, and it makes sense, and I wouldn't be surprised if he did end up directing it, okay? Because they originally had him tapped to direct Sinister Six. Since that's not happening, he's still signed on, all right, to work with Sony Pictures, so the next film, of course, would be the Spectacular Spider-Man, okay? So if he is going to be directing it, if he's officially signed on, that's no surprise to me. It's happening, okay? Now, what is going to happen in the Spectacular Spider-Man? It, after all, is coming out after Avengers Age of Ultron and after Captain America's Civil War, okay? Now, there's still no confirmation that Spider-Man is going to show up in Civil War, but we do know that, of course, Iron Man and Black Panther are going to be there. Could there possibly be a cameo appearance from Spider-Man? Who knows, but that is a suggestion, okay? But what's really, really exciting is that apparently, and this is just a rumor, the Spectacular Spider-Man might have an appearance by Tony Stark himself, Iron Man, okay? Now, the reason why there could be this appearance is because the story, according to this rumor, is that, okay, they're recruiting straight out of high school. Spider-Man is coming out of high school, or is still is in high school, wants to be part of the Avengers, to be a part of the Ultimate Avengers, okay? But there's going to be a little bit of a battle for I guess between Iron Man and Spider-Man, because he's going to put him through the test, okay? Iron Man, or rather Tony Stark, is going to put Peter Parker or whoever's going to be Spider-Man through the test, and there's going to be a bit of a fight going on. Imagine Iron Man, you know, flying around, blasting his, you know, palm cannons, and Spider-Man slinging around through the city. That's going to be pretty spectacular, hence the name, the Spectacular Spider-Man. So that is the rumor going on right now, is that in 2017 we're going to see an appearance from a solo Spider-Man film, as well as an appearance by Tony Stark himself, and he's going to do battle with Spider-Man. Now, what's also very, very interesting, now here's the interesting part, okay? Now, not only is it very exciting that we're going to see Iron Man and Spectacular Spider-Man, but Sinister Six is most likely going to be forming in Spectacular Spider-Man. They, in fact, could be the main villain, or a couple of them are going to be the main villain, but supposedly the Spectacular Spider-Man film is supposed to set it up for a Sinister Six solo film, or a Sinister Six spin-off film, which is going to be a Sony Pictures production, as opposed to a Marvel Cinematic Universe or a Marvel Studios production. You see what where I'm going with this? So, or where they're going with this, rather? They're going to set up Sinister Six through Marvel Studios, and then Sony Pictures is going to piggyback off them to make their Sinister Six film more, I guess, more welcomed, or more marketable. You know what I'm saying? It would be marketed through Disney first. They'll give them a bit of a kickstart, and then Sony Pictures will be able to kickstart off their Sinister Six project through their own studio. All right? Because, you know, I don't even know where Sinister Six would fall in line with the Avengers, so therefore it's not even going to be a part of that universe. It's just going to spin off on its own. And the whole Spectacular Spider-Man thing is going to kick it off for them. All right? That's a pretty smart move. In terms of marketing and a business plan, that is a pretty smart move. It's a good way for them to inject new life into their franchise, which is something that they really need right now. Okay? Now, there's no word on who's going to be playing Spider-Man, but that is the most solid rumor that we have right now. Spectacular Spider-Man comes out on July 28th, 2017. Okay? Now, moving on, there's just a little bit of news that I have for you, and that is the Russo brothers, who directed Captain America: Winter Soldier, and also will be directing Captain America: Civil War, have signed on with Sony Pictures for a three-year, okay, not three-picture, but three-year first-look deal, okay? What does three-year first-look deal means? Well, in the most simplest terms, it means that they're going to be directing two pictures for Sony Pictures, okay? Because within 3 years, you can make two films. You can direct two films. Now, why did Sony Pictures go to the Russo brothers? Well, first of all, the Russo brothers, they're artists, they're directors, they're filmmakers, right? They're just looking for the studios to hire them, all right? When Sony Pictures comes calling, all right, it means they recognize their work, and it also means that they want them to direct something for them. Now, what could that picture be? I mean, first of all, we got Drew Goddard tapped to possibly be writing and directing Spectacular Spider-Man. Well, it's possibly that Sony Pictures wants the Russo brothers to direct, I don't know, Sinister Six film, Spider-Man sequel, I don't know. But anyways, Russo brothers could be directing Spider-Man, the sequels. I don't know. But anyways, I'm just throwing it out there. But they have signed on with Sony Pictures. If they're signed on with Sony Pictures, how does this affect them and possibly directing Marvel's Avengers Infinity War? After all, Joss Whedon isn't coming back for Infinity War. He's done after Age of Ultron. So, you know, Kevin Feige, I'm pretty sure Kevin Feige wants the Russo brothers to direct Infinity War Parts 1 and 2. I don't know how it affects them, but that's still a long ways to go. All right, I mean, maybe they'll be back to direct Infinity War for Disney Studios, Marvel Studios, whichever. It's the same company. But anyway, so that's what's happening now. The last thing I want to point out is that it kind of works out that Drew Goddard is going to be possibly going to be directing Spectacular Spider-Man, because he's now going to be part of Marvel Studios alumni, or rather Avengers alumni, because Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard worked together in Cabin in the Woods. Joss Whedon was producer, and Drew Goddard was director, of course. And you know, Joss Whedon, obviously director of the Avengers films, and Drew Goddard directing Spider-Man as being part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It all works out. Okay, so you can see this collaborative effort that's going on right now between Sony Pictures and Marvel Studios. I mean, you know what? If it's gonna hurt them, then they shouldn't work against each other. They shouldn't compete against each other. Even though at the end of the day they are competing studios, might as well put their efforts together, work together, and make something awesome. Okay, and that is by putting Spider-Man as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is something that the fans have been wanting to see for a very, very long time. It's finally happening. Okay, I'm pretty happy about that. Anyways, that's all I gotta say in this video. Why don't you let me know your thoughts about anything that I've talked about in the comment section below. And as always, if you want to see more, make sure you subscribe to this channel. There's going to be lots to talk about. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. And also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. You can like my Facebook page, The Ragin Nation. My name is Archie. I'll see you next time. Peace. That franchise pull for his films to generate big box office dollars. I mean, Expendables was doing all right.